the accident, even though there was nothing broken. And then what happened was I tried to ignore it. I tried to do the placebo thing. Nope, there's nothing wrong with me. And I ended up collapsing halfway through a show that I did. I can't believe I did that. And I pushed myself to my limit and my body just went, it's not happening. So I then spent 5 years in bed. I was still living with my demons from the past. So mentally I wasn't there, spiritually I was, and I just spent my life giving to everybody. I'm always reminded of this meditation that says, they're the young souls, Nicola. They always call me Nicola up there, hate it. Yeah. Only my doctor calls me Nicola. And so Juliana said, they're the young souls, Nicola. They have to begin somewhere. And so the theory is, well, it's not a theory, I know it for fact, but for people out there, is that the young souls that come down here want easier lives. And so they come down and they experience the lottery. They experience being famous for a while. And I think some of them actually say, if I could have that fame, I'll go back early. Look at all of the times that the biggest stars go back early and they have problems with drugs and alcohol and depression and all that kind of stuff because they're not like us. What we've been through, Brian, would break most people. Would break a young soul.
Well, let's talk about you. I mean, I could do this all day, literally, but we talk about
bless your heart. Well, come back anytime you want.
Yeah, we have touched on it, but people don't know what you've been through. And we had to cancel this interview, we had to postpone this interview because you have health problems and as you said, you're disabled. So anybody watching this is not going to get that. They're not going to understand. So explain to people what it is you've gone through.
It's an invisible illness. Obviously, we've just touched on my adolescence. I was in the police service and I ripped 7 ribs away from my spinal joint. And so I got a really severe back injury. And even though I was a detective, I ended up ripping the old scar tissue. So I got retired from the police service. I've obviously told you about how I then become a medium. And so I literally reached the heights that any medium could get to. I was working with the most famous mediums, not that that's anything, but the whole point is that anything you want to aspire to, whether it's TV, I did TV, I was touring all over the country, just about to come over to America and Australia. I had my first book that was just about to go out. Everybody wanted Nicky Allen and I loved it, but I was still living with my demons from the past. So mentally I wasn't there, spiritually I was, and I just spent my life giving to everybody. And I could feel myself tiring. I was in the wrong relationship and I was aware of these things, but I just ignored them because I was on the Nicky Allen ride. It's exactly what I describe in Rise and Fall, and me, myself and I. And then literally I'd come to do this weekend with Derek Acora and Colin Fry down in a place called Torquay, which is in Devon, which is all coastal, stunning. It's near Cornwall, south of the UK, and it is stunning. And I walked into this hotel and said, I'm going to live here. And I knew I would. And I started coming down here. I was doing workshops in a local community area down here, and I decided to rent somewhere and spend a few months down here just to make sure I definitely wanted to and start house searching. And the first day we got down here, my partner at the time was driving. It's horrible. It's like Voldemort. He's described in both books. And we were driving, we were just turning into a pub to have something to eat, and this girl that had just passed the test the day before T-boned us, and I was in the passenger seat. I had to be taken out of the car by paramedics, but long story short, after a day and night in hospital, they're like, it's just soft tissue damage. I said, it can't be. I cannot tell you, I was in the most excruciating pain, blurred vision, hot and cold. And so exhausted that I collapsed on the floor and I tried to get out of the bed. And they said, no, it's just shock, you'll be fine. So they then discharged me. I come home, spend 24 hours sleeping, wake up. The lights were like hot molten lava in my eyes. And I collapsed on the floor. I was incontinent. I was in the most agonizing pain that I just wanted to die. That's how much pain it was. This went on for a year. The problem with that was I had tours booked. I had theatre shows booked. I had 500 people on a waiting list for readings. And so like an idiot, I refused to let the pain and the exhaustion get hold of me. And so I would even do shows in theatres on a settee or a sofa. I couldn't sit on a normal chair because the pain was unbearable. I think it was about a year or so. I got diagnosed with ME, which is chronic fatigue syndrome, and fibromyalgia, which was from a brain trauma injury from the accident. even though there was nothing broken. And then what happened was I tried to ignore it. I tried to do the placebo thing. Nope, there's nothing wrong with me, nothing wrong with me. And I ended up collapsing halfway through a show that I did. I can't believe I did that. And I pushed myself to my limit, and my body just went, it's not happening. So I then spent 5 years in bed because I physically could not get up. I couldn't get out of bed. I was wheelchair bound. I had to have carers, and I lost everything. And so me, myself and I, this book, ta-da! Do you remember that, darling?
I do. It's awesome. I have to say again, you got to get that book. It's just incredible. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And it literally, I was writing in my diary to try and get some form of sense. I'd lost my faith, and I was suicidal, and I just thought, no, that's it. I'm done now. I am done. And then my nan come and visited me from the spirit world and told me about a drug that I should try. That got me out of bed, and it improved me somewhat that I could start getting up and doing things. But it started wearing out about 2 years ago. And because it's a drug that, they don't know long-term effects, they basically said, look, perhaps your body's used to it. Sorry, there's nothing else we can do. So I was back to square one again. And the problem is with chronic fatigue, you have to pace everything. So for instance, I had to rest all afternoon knowing I was going to be talking to you today. So then I've stayed in bed until 1 o'clock to make sure that I've got enough energy to talk, understand what you're saying back to me, and give you a reply. And also, with invisible illness, God bless the missing millions out there, we don't talk about it all the time. So what you don't know is at the moment my eyes are stinging and my sockets are screaming in my head. I've got a headache, neck ache, jaw ache, my hands and fingers are killing me, my back is screaming, my hips, my knees, my thighs and my feet are swollen. But you don't tell people that.
Right.
So they don't. So it is an invisible illness. So even though people think disability should be you're in a wheelchair, you've got no leg or God knows what, it isn't. Because I can't lead a normal life, and it is so infuriating because right now I'd be touring still, and I'd be going abroad. I would be doing everything that I was doing just before the accident, but it's been taken from me. And so during that transitional time of accepting, grieving, getting over my old life and what I was able to do before, and then thought, right, well, I can't stop wanting to serve humankind. What do you want me to do? And so that's when the TikTok, oh my God, I had literally, my dad is the TV man, right? So my dad, November last year, the last thing I ever wanted to do was go on TikTok because there's so much negativity on there.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I really don't need to be exposed to that. Anyway, my TV turned itself on every single night. And then I was starting to get a bit skeptical, thinking perhaps there's an internal alarm in the TV. So then when I thought that, the TV in my bedroom went on. So I had 2 TVs coming on every night. And then it was about a month, and I went, for goodness sake, Dad. I said, I don't know what you're trying to tell me. What you're trying to tell me. And then randomly, just like in Emmy, myself and I, when they were pushing me to go on YouTube, which really hasn't gone that far, to be honest with you, a TikTok thing come up. I wasn't even on it.
Yeah.
I wasn't even on it. I don't know how it played. It came up on some Facebook thing, and I went, oh, hell no. And then the following day, I said, Dad, seriously, right, if I do one TikTok video, don't put the TV on tonight. So I did. TV's never gone on since.
Oh, wow.
And so, I've got nearly 90,000 followers, and I've only been on there about 8 or 9 months.
Oh, really?
So
wow.
I'm reaching a lot of people there, which I'm so happy about. So my life really consists of pacing to do normal things, like washing, getting dressed. So I've had to make the effort of getting dressed. My hair looks horrific though, but hey ho. Oh, sorry, there's a shadow going on now, like yin and yang.
Yeah, the sun just like
it just burst in.
Blasted out, yes.
That's so weird because it's been a really dull day today.
Yeah.
Sun in the UK, who knew?
Yeah.